Ms. Nelms on Zoom and Mr. Harden.
Here.
Okay, so with Zoom, you have everybody present.
All right. Can I have a reading to dispense, or can I have a motion to dispense the reading and approval of minutes from October 4th?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harden, second by Mrs. Gear. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Wait, Ms. Nelms, you still on there? Julie,
Yes, I'm
do you-
here.
Okay. Okay, so we'll go 5-0 on that.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to take just an item out of order because it's been on here a couple different times, and I believe we have him on Zoom tonight. 10/08/21, request for permission to work in the city right-of-way to replace trees at 201 East Linwood, brought to us by Adam and Catherine Thrower. Brian, I think Adam is on there. Do you see him?
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. So if you can, we were just gonna, and Kale is coming up to help out too, just kind of give us a quick overview of what you're looking at doing.
Brian, there's a
Sure.
PDF.
And, yeah, Brian's got a
Sure.
picture of it.
They just carry it.
All right. So as you can see, if you're able to see the PDF, we are at 201 East Linwood. East Hawthorne we're also on the corner of East Hawthorne. We moved in 2015, and there was some existing Bradford pears. I think when we moved in, there were 8. One has died, and now there is 7 Bradford pears, and we would like to remove those and replace them with a different species. Worked with Kel and the city's appointed arborist. The trees that we planted in 2015 in the right-of-way are no longer, may not be considered approved species any longer. But so we picked out 3 that seem to be, that will go with your upcoming ordinance that you'll vote on at some point. But we picked out 3 just with the idea that we're just trying to find something local that is in stock that we can actually get our hands on. So we were wanting to have these 3 species approved, but we're replacing 7 trees with 4, and that's because the spacing for the trees we're planting is more appropriate at 20 feet, which is what we're proposing, as opposed to just under 10 in the Bradford pears.
Mr. Thrower, is that the last name?
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe that he's, Adam, you did get a chance to go back and forth with city arborist a little bit, right?
We did. We originally applied to plant a tree called a bosque elm, which is what we planted in 2015. But that's the tree that seems to be no longer. It may have received a new designation as an invasive tree. So, in 15 we planted those because they matched other trees on the street with that same species. So, we're trying to have as similar look as possible with the same spacing, same shape of tree. It'll be just a different species. The Bradford pears, by the way, are just at the end of their life cycle. They're dying. One's pretty disfigured now. Another is not far behind.
Did I miss something at the Did you tell us what tree you picked, or you picked one of 3 from the arborist?
Sure. So what we're suggesting is white ash or 2 varieties of oak tree, overcup or nuttall. And the reason being, those all have a root system that will be used that works at a street tree in this size. So they have a tap root and they don't have roots that spread, so it won't be hurting the sidewalk. Also, from a width and height standpoint, they'll be similar in scale to the bosque elms in the front, and locally available.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out to the arborist, Adam, and just to clarify, he is proposing all of this work is done at his own expense. So I think that's great too. So,
I'd like to make a motion to approve, Stroh's, plan to plant the new trees for our arborist.
Agreement now, if he moves or, who maintains them when he moves.
Well, they're on his plan.
Down there in the city right of way, so then if he moves and he's not there anymore, then we're gonna be responsible for it.
Berkeley, do you know who planted all these pear trees to begin with?
I don't know what it-
Okay.
I mean, I read my, I don't think mine went to y'all, saw that. My concern is once you plant them, if somebody moves, then it ends up, when something happens, then we have to come and take care of it. So, I mean, that was my only question or concern I have is if they up and leave or move or whatever, who.
Can
is
you
that
come up,
something-
can you come up, Berkeley? I mean, have you talked to Mr. Thrower about
I didn't know
this?
nothing about it.
Okay, I think this is something we should ask our,
I mean, it's just
Our Public
something
Works
that we
Department
have
about.
happen, and then when somebody moves, then it becomes the city's responsibility to maintain it. At that point in time,
I think what you're talking about, Berkeley, is we get calls on a regular basis for a tree in the right of way that needs to be taken down or
Yeah.
something like that. No one knows who put it there originally, and
That's my question too, is
Yeah.
that typically in these right-of-way permits, we allow them to work in the right-of-way, but there's a unification agreement
Yeah.
that requires them to maintain. Is that going to apply to this situation?
yeah,
and if it, even if it is, does it run with the land?
yeah. I mean, that's, we've seen it. I mean, people do these and then they move and then something happens.
Well, because we're planning the right-of-way, we might have a need down the road,
Yeah,
that need to be removed.
yeah.
That's
I
what's
mean-
in the right-of-way.
And some of them, eventually, as well as I do, they start buckling concrete, lifting up sidewalks. So, not against them, I'm just saying there's some things in this thing we need
To
to start
consider.
looking at.
The way it's been drafted is that it's a right-of-way agreement like we do.
Yeah.
Given permission to work in the right-of-way, there's an indemnification attached to the resolution.
Okay.
That's the way it's currently drafted. If it needs to be different, please let me know that.
And my understanding is the species that he's looking at are, what's that? Well, they're
Taproot,
approved,
is
but
it?
they're also not likely in terms of growth and root bundles and stuff, the damage to sidewalks and things are not as likely with the species that he's looking at, I think, which is, I don't know. Can you speak to that?
well, I mean, I
Speak to
think
that?
what Berkeley is saying is that just in general, we continue to plant trees in the right of way, and then the maintenance is an issue. And we're planting trees in the road, and we're doing a lot of beautification, and there's probably a lot more maintenance involved around the city. And if we have trees right now the Brad prepares that need to be removed, I guess the question is, do we really want to replace them with anything?
How many is he talking about going back with?
7, and he's going down to 4. I mean, again, I think it's worth mentioning that he's got 7 trees that he's willing to take out himself right now and replace them with less, and
I mean, were those there when he bought the place, or did they plant them? or-
Yeah, yes, sir.
They were
Yes,
all
sir.
there.
There were 8. There were 8 when we bought the place,
Yeah.
and they're all in need of
Oh, I
of
agree.
work. And I'm not requesting
agree.
anything from the
Brad
city
need to go.
as far as these trees.
As long as, I'm, like Mr. Kennedy, as long as there's something tied with it that goes with the land, that whoever, if they were to sell or move or whatever, that it ties in with them, it's their responsibility, then, I can live with that. But our problem is when we do these and, or people do them and then something happens, then it's us coming back replacing sidewalks and curbing and everything else, cause they buckle.
Or taking down the tree because it's
Yeah,
died?
or end up, we have to spend money to take down trees, so as long as it goes with what Mr. Kendrick said, I can
You're
live
okay
with
with
that
that?
part. Then
Well,
I'm
the only way
good.
it runs with the land is we record it, and typically you haven't done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, it doesn't automatically run into
No.
the land,
I
that's the
haven't
problem.
taken us to probate, usually they're just here.
No.
We never have, plus we don't have we typically have a street address, that's not adequate legal.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, this is 201 East Linwood, is that
That's a street address, that's not a,
We have to have a-
the location, physical location of the tree?
you need a correct legal description to make it run with the land.
I mean, wouldn't you have to have a legal description to do that?
That's what he just said.
Yes.
I just said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
it.
not just a street address, I'm talking
No,
about,
you'd have to have a legal description.
That's what he
you'd have to
said.
go get a surveyor.
So I have a question. If we allowed this homeowner to build trees on his, in what's considered his lot, but with an agreement with the city, that he will maintain the trees.
This is
Are
on
we
the
s-
city right away, not his property.
Okay, I understand that, but it's in front of his property.
It's in the city right away.
Okay, so are we saying that there's
Adjacent
there's
to his
nothing that
property,
can
yes.
go forward that would make the next homeowners?
Well, it sounded like it would if we filed it, is that
Yeah,
correct?
so it's, with the agreement that we've always used, no, that it would just be with this homeowner.
Okay.
What you would have to do to make it run with the land is that it would have to be filed, which would take a good bit of work, because you would have to get a legal description, and it would require significantly more than what we've traditionally done for work in the right-of-way, because of the legal requirements because what you're essentially doing is attaching it to the
Right.
deed, where it will run with the land. So it's not that we couldn't do that, it's that it would take a good bit more work than what we currently have.
So it's kind of like we do an annexation, all that, we have to give a little description and go file it.
Sure, and it would have to be
It'll
filed,
learn tax, a lien
And
for
it would be,
demolition and all.
and it would be part of that property in probate court, just like the filing of a deed or anything else.
I mean, I'm not against them planting a tree, it's just the maintenance of it, and then if something happens and they were to leave, then usually the city's gonna end up being responsible. for those
Absolutely.
trees.
Well, I
mean,
think
that's
it's a
just-
policy
that's-
issue
that's why
across
it's
the
big.
city potentially. I mean,
So, you know.
Chris, yeah.
Yeah, didn't we just approve the same thing?
No, you're good, just come on up,
That's
the process was.
good.
Thanks.
Sign in, tell us where you live.
Chris Slane, 1763 Mayfair Drive. Didn't we just approve 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago over on Point Sienna with the new house is being built? We just stuck oaks right there in the right of way the same way for this person. Did we have to go through all legal?
That is one of my concerns, is that, yeah, we've done this fairly routinely, so.
And also, is it not true that the right of way is just not between the sidewalk there? It also goes up about 15 feet up in the yard.
Depends on the yard.
Exactly.
It depends very much on the yard.
No, I agree, I'm agreeing. So, I mean, the guy's trying to improve it, whether he leaves with it, you know, leaves it in, 15 years, 20 years from now, whenever this happens. But, he's trying to beautify the neighborhood. The trees are already there. Matter of fact, it'd be less work for 4 trees than it would be for the 7 trees that, according to what's going on right now, the city's responsible for right now, right?
That's
Okay,
kind of my thought.
so we're actually minimizing the city's responsibility, in my
Well, and
opinion.
mitigating the need right now at the end of lifetime of those trees that already exist, yes.
No, I agree. So, I'm just saying, you know.
At least for a number of years.
Kale, do you have any idea what the lifespan is on those trees?
In the, for
Do you have any idea what the lifespan is on those trees on average? Any of the species that he's looking at? Yeah. Okay.
It's
I'm just making a point
Did you
here.
sign in?
We did have a motion from Mr. Harden, I would like to point that out. We didn't have a second yet, but, yeah.
And I would just like to clarify with Mr. Harden, did that motion include with the proper indemnification agreements?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
yeah, I second that.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so we have a first and a second.
Can I ask the question since I was,
Feel free. Yep.
wanted to run with the land and Berkeley requested or not?
No.
So with the legal filing and probate, we've not stipulated that.
What those other ones?
Yeah.
Wasn't that needed?
I will say,
Okay, I'm good.
Berkeley raised the issue that he wanted to run with the land, that's a different legal
Well,
obligation.
We could be doing,
I think we-
open a can of worms for a lot of that.
We-
well,
Well, that's what you like to do though.
we'd have, well,
I do think
If it's
for,
a big enough problem, yes.
Oh, yeah.
This one here, I'm okay with.
You make that call.
so
I'm trying.
if we do that, we gotta hire a surveyor to give us a legal description, right, Mr.
No,
Kendrick?
no, it's the legal description of the property owner, not for the right of way. Mr. Horton. The one with the land, we'd have to make it binding on his
so
lot,
I just think
not
that,
the right
you
of
know,
way.
if we're evaluating this on a case-by-case basis, I do think that in this case, we are reducing the future burden of the city for the 7 trees and reducing to 4. So I think for now, I mean, I'm for this change. But I think if we have an issue going forward, we need to look at the policy going forward and how we're gonna evaluate it. But, you know, I don't foresee making an issue out of this case.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
There we go. Any opposed? No. Okay, so that is 5-0. So, Mr. Thrower, that will go out to full council next week. There, you know, there may be more
Can I suggest one thing?
Sure, sure.
Sorry to interrupt. The way that I would write in the resolution is remove existing trees as identified in Exhibit A, which is the photograph, and allow plant back 4 trees approved by the city architect.
That's perfect. And with an identification.
Well, that's going to be in the identification.
Sure. That's great. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and to Mr., I know you've already voted on this, to Mr. Rower's defense, he proposed trees, and we said, no, don't use those trees,
Right.
let's use the trees that the arborist recommends. So,
Right.
I mean, this process is very much pretty fluid.
Right.
Pretty dynamic with the arborist and the homeowner working together.
Sure.
So we're all very much involved with trees.
Okay. Yeah, so Mr. Thrower, this will go out to full council next week. That meeting is at 6 o'clock. I don't know exactly what time this item will be, but the meeting itself starts at 6. We can try and kind of keep you updated. If you're able to be here in person, you can do that, or you can attend via Zoom. Again, just in case there are additional questions or anything else from members that are not on this specific committee tonight. Okay, and so with that, I did want to just touch base real quick on his 090821 item request to work in the city right away at 186 Oxmoor Road as well. This is something that Mr. Thrower came to us over in West Homewood about. There's a bus stop right outside the building at this address, and he was proposing that he would put up a bus stop or a bus, like a bench or some sort of potentially some sort of awning, depending on what the BJCTA has out there. And Adam, I did get our BJCTA's representative's contact, so if you don't mind, we could just carry this one over and see what you can figure out with them. He had a question about whether or not they had some sort of recommended or pre-manufactured.
Yeah, generally they handle it themselves and put it out there and like to use their stuff, so I.
Right, so he was all for that, obviously somewhat dependent on cost. Sure. You know, if it's outrageous, then he may not want to be as generous.
Well, yeah, I think we would just need to talk to the transit authority and see what they're willing to do and what they would like out there, and we can move forward from there.
Sure. So I've got Randall's contact, and I'm going to get that to Mr. Thrower. If that sounds okay to you, Adam?
No, that's great. That's exactly what I wanted. I just thought we could contribute to West Homewood. I think there's a need of a bench there. I think it would help all involved, and happy to contribute some funds to do it.
And I guess just to clarify, if you were able to kind of come to terms with the BJCTA, this item is on here because you would be putting this structure basically in the city right away. So we would be, is there a question, Mr. Kendrick?
The transit authority has a franchise and are permitted to use the right of way. So there'd be nothing, if they put it in, there's nothing that.
They don't need permission from us.
I got you. So if he goes through them and just pays them whatever a bus stop or a bus bench would cost, then?
Correct.
Okay, so he'll check on that. We'll carry it over for this week and potentially move to drop it if that becomes the case. Does that sound okay? All right. I'm gonna take one other item out of order, new business 04-10-21, request for permission to work in the city right away at 208 Oxmoor Road, brought by Cale Smith.
Hey, Brian, we have a PDF for this one also. So this was a project, this is the gas station over on West Oxmoor Boulevard. This is Johnny Jones with Royal Builders, he's the contractor. And they had plans that were approved last year in 2020, so they're currently under construction. Those plans included closing the left entrance on Oxmoor Boulevard. And so that was a part of the design package. However, at the time, that plan never got brought here for an indemnification agreement for these guys to work in the right of way. So that's one of the things we're asking for. The other thing that they're proposing that I think would be a great addition to that, to traffic, the way traffic operates in that segment, is that they're offering to put in a right in, right out on the right entrance on Oxmoor Boulevard and widen the radius of the curbs.
Yeah, your sidewalk already on the right, far right side up there of that entrance is already broken. So we would like to take that out and make more of a radius so people don't have to come to a complete stop on Oxmoor Road to turn in. And he brought up the idea, as long, I think he was for it, as long as we would put a diamond in the center of the right in, and then the right, the right out. And I have no problem with that. Doing an arrow on the right side coming in, doing an arrow, going out. And like I said, that closure, obviously I'm glad I hadn't started work on that closure. But we are to the point we're ready to start on that. So whatever I need to do or sign to alleviate y'all's liability, I'm willing to do that.
Sir, do you mind signing in too for secretary name?
Yeah, right
And just put your company name so you don't have to put the item or your address or anything.
So Cale, and I don't know if you'd be able to answer this or not, is there a specific reason why they're looking to close that?
Y'all made us. And it's dangerous. I mean,
Well,
It's
I
so
will,
close to
I will
Vulcan
share my
Road.
concern, which is, I mean, I live over there, have lived over there for about 10 years. See traffic through there day in and day out. My concern is, that gas station had kind of been on the fritz for a while, right, before it went under for a period of time here. My primary concern.
now we've tore the old one down and built a
Oh,
brand new.
yeah. No, I drive by it every single day.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm very pleased to see the new build and everything. My main concern is that, Vulcan Road is a one-way. And we're not talking about closing in this image, kind of that northwest opening.
Yeah, that one's gonna be left open.
So you can still kind of come around the corner to turn in. I guess my only concern is having people come out of the newly constructed gas station that aren't familiar with it. It hasn't been a functional gas station in a couple of years now.
It's been in operation ever since it was in operation when we bought it.
Okay,
Yeah.
It may not have
Looked like it.
but it was.
gotcha.
Rob,
My concern is
more
people
all around it.
turning out and going the wrong way down the one way to pop out Vulcan and try to get on
Well,
Oxmoor.
people do that. We watch people come down that way and praise Homewood police. They're right there to stop it. But there are people that still come down that road. Not coming out of our station, but just coming down the road.
I guess I didn't know why the city, if that really is the case, why the city was proposing for them that we close this other.
It's because it was so close to Vulcan Road
Yeah.
when they came in here. I think it was,
Well, they were talking
Last
about
year,
cutting.
we actually tried to get y'all to give us a 2-lane.
right.
And that was prior to me, but, there was a time
Yeah,
that
there
we
was
asked for
a
two
guy,
lane
a
right
guy,
there. And it's,
remember the guy came here a couple of 3 times?
Michael
Yes,
Williams-
no, I very much remember it, and they were trying to carve out part of the road on Vulcan out onto Oxmoor, which
Yeah.
we did not approve. We did not, as a council, didn't
Do
like
you-
that plan, so.
Is there a
Mr.
sketch
Sims.
of the proposed
Yeah,
improvements?
The second PDF, Brian, do you have that? You can share that. Yeah, there you go. This is the site plan that was approved and what they're building from right now. Can you scroll down a little bit more? Yeah, there you go.
So,
Yeah,
can I ask a question?
Yeah, Mr. Wyatt.
So just to make sure, the opening on Oxmoor that you were talking about with the right in and the right out, is that being widened as well?
So the throat won't be widened, but where the sidewalks are, it will come out more. So you'll lose a little, the radius will be larger.
I'm following you. Now that I'm looking at the.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I see.
And I think what it's really doing is keeping people from coming out of there and taking a left on Oxmoor back to
Right.
65.
Right. Yep.
Right, jumping over a bunch of lanes. And then also, if you're trying to turn into the gas station from Oxmoor, you almost have to come to a complete stop to turn
Right.
right.
To
Yeah,
get
it's-
around
Cause
it.
there is no radius,
Right.
Okay.
And like I said, the sidewalk on the far, east side, it's already busted up anyway, so we'd be,
I think it's certainly an improvement.
What is he exactly asking to do?
I think working the right of way to close the other one, isn't that what you really?
well,
To close the first one and do curb and gutter work,
That's his,
and some sidewalk work.
Would he not have to work in the right of way on the first
Yes, sir.
right in, right out, and
well, the
closing the other
closure
one?
that y'all recommend us do and made us put on drawings, which I'm fine with, because having 2 exits right there side by side, and as much traffic is coming down there, I don't like that anyway.
so you close the existing driveway?
We're gonna close the existing
The second.
west driveway. But we're wanting to make a larger radius on the east driveway, on the one on the right. Cause see, you can see, there is no radius right there. There's no
Yeah,
radius.
it's
to
a
turn.
90-degree cut, yeah.
And all we want to do is just make a radius to make it easier to pull in.
I'm sorry, you're gonna enlarge the radius on the east driveway and close the west driveway.
Yeah, y'all are making us close the west driveway, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that one bit.
Yeah, I don't remember that being what they brought to us, we didn't approve, so I'm not sure where that came from.
What's that?
I'm not sure. It sounds like somebody in the city, the council did not vote to tell you
I think there was
to.
conversations with some of the staff at the time about the best way to manage traffic patterns around the gas station.
Yeah.
And it seemed like I just heard a discussion about some sidewalk improvements. Where were those located at?
So they're not improvements, but when you widen the radius, you're gonna lose a little bit of sidewalk,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is already
it's
busted
already
out currently.
broken up.
So, yeah, they'll have to pour it back flush.
Okay. And so just from that aspect too, if you're, I'm trying to, I didn't visually see where that sidewalk was currently, but just if it is at the turn then, if you're
Right at the
widening,
turn, yeah.
so if you're widening the radius to make
We'll
it,
take some of that sidewalk out,
Yeah.
and basically the sidewalk, there'll be just a piece of sidewalk gone away.
and it terminates at the gas station, it doesn't cross Vulcan, right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so basically, any concerns in regards to making that right turn easier and a problematic for pedestrians isn't so much of a concern because the sidewalk doesn't continue across Vulcan, there's no crosswalk.
Correct. Okay. I did have one other quick question. There had been, it's not exactly related to this, but it is this property, that we'd had the adjacent property owner express that they had talked with you guys about taking down the existing
Existing sign, yes.
if you could provide us a quick update on where that is or where we stand on that
Okay.
too.
There was nothing in the purchase of this property that states anything about that high-rise sign. In fact, that high-rise sign is a Texaco, and we bought a Sitco.
Correct, yes.
So,
Oh, it's been abandoned, there's no question about it.
yeah, it's been abandoned.
The
All right.
Patels say that it's the owner, whoever owns
Yeah.
your property, they have a lease with them. And they take the position that it's your responsibility to take it down.
Okay,
My position is it's on their property, it's their legal responsibility.
well, and here's what we have proposed to them. We'll go in halves with them to get it taken down. Now, why, Mr. Pugh, I don't guess he's here. He asked me that same question last week. When did I meet with you? Last week, yeah. And I told him that same thing, that we've been in talks with Mike Patel, and that we would, be willing to go in
We
halves
certainly
with it.
glad for that, but that's up between the two of y'all. We just want to sign that.
I know.
Yeah.
Has Mike
and- but
Patel
now-
said yes to that?
No, he's wanting us to sign some agreement, there's an easement, can you pull that back in? There's an easement, yeah, that side road right there. Exactly. There's an easement there, which we could care less about, but he's wanting us to sign something that we're not gonna try to close that easement. Why would we try to close that easement to begin with? I'm not signing anything for him. So, if he wants us to go, if he wants to split the cost of getting the sign down, we're willing to do that. If not, he can have the sign. I don't care.
I appreciate your candor there. I just didn't know what has transpired.
The bottom line is, you're not holding up taking down that sign
No, sir.
in any way. You
No,
don't, you're not trying to keep that sign or anything like that.
From what I understand, I think.
Technically, it's
y'all are holding up his
non-conforming.
Progress because of that sign?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's an abandoned sign, so I just wanted to be clear that you're not the one holding anything up about that sign. You're willing to help take it down, or someone else can.
I've got 3 prices already.
Oh, wow,
Okay.
okay. All right. So you've already priced it and everything?
Oh, yeah.
We appreciate it.
We've got 3 prices. Has he got a price? He ain't given us a price yet.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
But we have, I mean, I can sign a contract with a guy tomorrow to come take it down, if he wants to work with us.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So back to, I guess, the direct question at hand, the right of way there. Do we have anybody that'd like to take a motion on this? Or any other questions? Mr. Harden?
No, did you ask for a motion?
Any action? Yes.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the removal of what I'll call
West?
the west access point, and allow him to work in the right of way with the proper legal amendment stuff, and then allow him to put a right in, right out, and again, work in our right of way
As per plans approved by the building.
as per plans approved by the building.
All right. Motion by Mr. Harden, second by Mrs. Nelms. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, 5-0.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last item, 010220, request for updates on Green Springs revitalization, Berkeley Squires. Berkeley, I'm gonna apologize for my committee ending up last tonight.
No, that's all right.
Stay to the end.
I ain't got a lot, you will see, they are doing line locations, basically from where Me Pueblo and all is up to Valley. That should be ongoing this week. We had 2, lines we had to relocate with the power company. That got done. Concrete now is available. We did, meet, all landscaping materials and stuff are scheduled to come in last of October, 1st of November, which is where we want them to be. So everything on that is on time. They will, if you get a question, they will be cleaning out the medians
and
where
grass,
some of
yeah.
the concrete and trash and all that's, I know there's been some questions about that, so those will be done. Also, I told the mayor, some of y'all may have gotten some, I think we're still getting calls about the left turn lane going on to Oxmoor. I'm gonna meet with them Wednesday to discuss, do some temporary striping, black out some of the old, just make it the one, or make it the two, and put them right in there. I think we can go all the way back to about Publix back there and kind of do that and see if they want to go ahead. That's involved in some of our stuff, so, because it's gonna be a little bit before we start milling and paving. I think their thing is, this next ad alternate's not gonna take that long. So I think basically what they wanna do is knock it out, and then we'll start down at Broadway and mill and pave and stripe, go northbound, then come southbound and get it all knocked out. So, other than that, everything else is moving along fine. I did talk to Brian and Greg on Friday. Everything with concrete now is back, and so it kinda, I know it's kinda been a little bit of a stalemate, but it's worked out pretty good, because now everything basically will be done all at one time. They order concrete at one time and get it all knocked out. So, other than that, everything else is moving along. I think, they've got just about all of the crosswalk, equipment installed and running, and I think they've hung up pretty much all the lights that'll be going in place along there as well. So, everything else is good. Hopefully within the next week or so, you'll see more activity back out there, and they'll begin to finish up that alternate and go from there. So, hopefully next. No, because it'll just fall under, it's just a change order. It falls under the same PO. So, that's all.
Yeah, only question I had, because I haven't gone by there to see, we talked about the southbound Green Springs at that same, where it comes to Oxmoor as well.
Yep, that's,
Did they already temporary stripe that side too?
I thought they had already done
Okay,
it.
they may have, I just didn't.
But I'll look,
I
we're
hadn't been
meeting
by
Wednesday,
it,
but I'll
so-
run by there, but if not, I'll make sure that's
At the
completed
same
when
time
we
they
meet
do the
Wednesday,
other.
when they do the other, so we'll get it knocked out.
Okay,
Thank y'all.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and carry that one over. And with that, we stand adjourned.